Hey guys, this is Big Communications. Welcome back to another review, this time of a 2011 comedy that I really enjoy. I'd probably say it's one of my favorite comedies of the past few years, and that is Horrible Bosses. It's a film I saw, and it's a 2011 film. I believe I didn't see this in the theater. I think I rented it, and I really was surprised by it, and I really had a good time with the film. And I watched it again recently, uh, before I decided to check out the sequel, which I thought was horrible, which more on that later. But the first film really, it was a really pleasant surprise. The trailer didn't do much to get me interested in the film. I knew of the cast. Jason Sudekis is a guy I wasn't the biggest fan of, but I did like Jason Bateman, and I was a fan of Charlie Day from his work in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And of course Kevin Spacey. So I was like, okay, all right, we'll give this a look, and it was worth my time because I think it's a really, really fun movie. Kevin Spacey, to me, his role in this, he pretty much just plays his character from Swimming with Sharks again, which I love that character. It's a great performance. And so David Harkin in this is pretty much the exact same character as the character that he played in Swimming with Sharks. So, a little bit of deja vu, but in a good way. Deja vu. The film's directed by Seth Gordon, and it's based on a screenplay by Michael Markowitz, John Francis Daly, and Jonathan Goldstein. And, of course, it stars Jason Bateman as Nick Hendricks, an executive at a financial firm who ends up being manipulated into jumping through hoops in order to get a promotion that his boss never intended to give him. Markowitz actually wrote the role specifically for Jason Bateman. And it is a bit of perfect casting. This role totally really fits Jason Bateman's personality and his acting style. Charlie Day as Dale Arbus. He's a dental assistant who's sexually harassed by his boss, played by Jennifer Aniston. He's described as a hopeless romantic who's in love with his fiancée. And I guess Ashton Kutcher was in talks for the role at 2 different points in the lengthy production of the film. And Day was considered for the role following his co-starring performance as Sudekis in the 2010 film Going the Distance. And I guess Reuters reported that the industry insiders believed his performance overshadowed the main stars. I disagree with that, but, And, yeah, so here's all the other actors that were rumored to play some of the roles. Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson, Matthew McConaughey, Dax Shepard, Ashton Kutcher. I'm glad Charlie Day took the role because it just added something new and fresh to the film instead of having the same actors you've seen, in films. It was nice to see Charlie Day get his shot because he's a really funny guy. Ashton Kutcher, Paul Rudd, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Jeff Bridges, Tom Cruise, which is Tom Cruise. I can't see Tom Cruise doing this movie. We're all rumored for roles at some point. Cruise and Hoffman and Bridges were approached by New Line for the role of Dave Harkin. The only one I could really see is maybe Hoffman or maybe Bridges, but I can't see Tom Cruise as David Harkin. I just can't see it. Philip Seymour Hoffman I could. Jason Sudeikis plays Kurt Buckman. He's an account manager at a chemical company dealing with a new drug-addicted boss after his former boss dies. His new boss is played by Colin Farrell. Plays a good dick. He plays a good douche. Because he plays a good douchebag. He does. I gotta admit, Colin Farrell. There's one thing he's good at is playing douchebags. So he plays Bobby Pellet. Jennifer Aniston plays Dr. Julia Harris, DDS, and this is a very filthy, totally against her type role, and she really pulled it off, and she did a great job being this oversexed, nymphomaniac who's literally basically raping, Dale, and I just thought it was really interesting, It was uncomfortable at the same time. It was funny the way that they handled it because it was just so over the top. Like she'd just show up, wearing nothing and just do this crazy stuff. Like it's just talking to Dale. It's like, would you just suck my say it, Dale. He's like, no, I don't. I'm married! So this is just crazy. It really is. Um, Markowitz based the character, I guess, of Jennifer Aniston based on a former boss, claiming she was very sexually aggressive with everybody. And when writing the script, Markowitz intended for the role to go to Jennifer Aniston. But the boss looked more like Cruella de Vil. It was like flirting with a cobweb. So he decided for the sake of the movie, let's go with Jennifer Aniston. The actress insisted on wearing a brown wig for the role, wanting to look different from other characters that she had played. Colin Farrell plays Bobby Pellet, described as a weaselly scion, a corrupt and incompetent jerk who's in charge of things but clearly has no idea what he's doing. Farrell explained the motivation he gave to the character, saying, "This guy thinks he's God's gift to women, God's gift to intellect, to humor, to the club scene, to everything. It's all part of his grandiose sense of self-esteem, which is probably masking a deeper sense of being a disappointment to his father, and being riddled with envy over the relationship his father had with Kurt, and all other kinds of things." And his father is played by Donald Sutherland. And with Pellet, Seth gave me a complete license to act as pathologically screwed up as possible. And Farrell contributed significantly to the appearance of his character, suggesting the comb-over hairstyle, pot belly, and an affinity for Chinese dragons. Kevin Spacey plays David Harkin. He's the president of Commodine Industries. Like was mentioned earlier, Tom Cruise, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Jeff Bridges were approached for the role. The role is described as a psychopathic master manipulator with an attractive wife. And Julie Bowen plays his wife. And she is definitely very attractive. When Spacey signed up for the role in June 2010, the part was considered integral to the film. Gordon commented the character was an amalgamation of several real bosses rather than one single person to avoid being sued. And then Jamie Foxx has a cool little bit role as Dean Motherfucker Jones, who was a character who had the more colorful name Cocksucker Jones, but it was changed at Fox's request. And yeah, Motherfucker Jones sounds better. And with producer Jay Stern commenting that Fox felt it was over the line, and the current name was said to be subject to further change prior to the release of the film. Fox contributed to his character's appearance, suggesting full scalp tattoos and a retro clothing style, and Fox described the appearance as a guy who maybe went to jail for a minute, now he's living in his own time capsule. When he got out, he went right back to the clothes he thought were hot back when he went in. And the script was actually sold at auction, interesting enough, to New Line Cinema by Ratner's production company, Rat Entertainment. Brett Ratner was originally interested in directing, but became occupied with directing the comedy The Tower Heist. So Frank Oz and David Dobkin were also in talks to direct, but Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly rewrote the script in 2010, and the project went into production with Seth Gordon directing. Here's what the production designers have to say about the production design for the film. It's like we have a team of 3 people playing against an opposing team of 3, with Jamie Foxx's character as a referee. We wanted to distinguish these 3 environments and play the 2 sides off each other. Each environment is a reflection of the person who controls it. And actually, that's one of the more underrated aspects of the film. The production design, it may not be something that would stand out to the everyday moviegoer, but to me personally, they did a really good job with that. They did a great job separating, these, making these bosses have their own unique world that they, live in pretty much. Yeah, so that's a little bit of the little bit behind the scenes. There's a few other. Ann Fletcher was actually the studio's first choice to direct, but that ended up happening. And interestingly enough, to promote the film, Warner Brothers Pictures Canada set up a 12-foot voodoo doll resembling a corporate boss in downtown Montreal. People were given the chance to vent their office frustrations on the doll by stabbing and hitting it with large needles. They were also encouraged to share their best/worst boss story for the chance of winning passes to an advanced screening of the film. It was kind of fun bit of trivia there about how they advertised it with the giant voodoo doll. Now, the film was made for a budget of $35 to around $37 million, and it made over $209 million in box office. So it was a pretty decent hit, considering, the budget. The basic gist of the plot is this. Nick Hendricks, played by Jason Bateman, Dale Arbus, played by Charlie Day, are friends who despise their bosses. Nick works at a financial firm for the sadistic David Harkin, who implies the possibility of a promotion for Nick for months, only to award it to himself, which is a really horrible, horrible thing to do. And the movie pretty much opens up. These are the first lines of the film from Jason Bateman. It's like, I get to work before the sun comes up, and I leave long after it's gone down. And I haven't had sex in 6 months with someone other than myself. And the only thing in my refrigerator is an old lime. Could be kiwi. No way to tell. It's that kind of thing where it's like your life is just consumed by your job, and it's just there's nothing else that you're thinking about. It's just your job. And anyway, so Harkin gives the promotion to himself, and Dale is a dental assistant. He's being sexually harassed by his boss, Dr. Julia Harris, played by Jennifer Aniston. She threatens to tell his fiancée that he had sex with her unless he actually has sex with her, because she's basically blackmailing him. And, you know, there's a lot of fun scenes, you know, where he's pretty much talking about, you know, what's going on. Trying to find some of these quotes here. Trying to find some of these quotes. This is where, after Julia just showed him pictures of her cavorting him while he was unconscious, Dale says, "Rape! Rape! Rape! This is what raping is! You're a raper! You've raped me! That's a rape! Rape! Oh, just relax there, Jodie Foster. Your dick wasn't even hard. That does not give me any relief." Which is, you know, and then, like, he hangs out with his friends, you know, Jason Sudekis, and, Jason Bateman, and, you know, Dale's hanging out with them, and, you know, he's telling them about his story, and how horrible his boss is, you know, and, you know, they're all, like, talking to him, and they're all like, you know, yours doesn't really sound really that bad. I'm just trying to see if you can find that quote. Just trying to see. Now you say it. I mean, yours doesn't even sound that bad. That's pretty much what it is. They're like, her breasts, like, they're in my face. It's just like, yours doesn't even sound that bad, man. What are you doing? Dale, come on. So anyway, so she threatens to tell his fiancée they had sex with her unless she actually bones her. So Nick and Dale's accountant friend, Kurt, he enjoys working for his boss, Jack, played by Donald Sutherland, at a chemical company. So he's all like, "Ah, I love my job. You know, it's great." But then Donald Sutherland dies in a really out of nowhere car accident. He dies of a heart attack, pretty much, in his car. And then the company is taken over by Jack's cocaine-addicted son, Bobby, whose apathy and incompetence threaten the future of the company. He's a total dick. You know, saying, like, you know, calling him dick skin. And here's the scene from what I was mentioning earlier. So after all of this, you know, these guys, they go to bars and they just deal with this. And this ties into what happened in the plot around the same time in the plot that I'm talking about too, because Kurt just is dealing with his new boss, and Nick, you know, Jason Bateman's dealing with, you know, Harkin took the promotion himself, and they're in the bar, and here's the lines of dialogue they have. Nick's like, "I'm such a sucker. Harkin was never gonna promote me." And Kurt's like, "That coked up prick is gonna ruin Pellet Chemicals. He's just gonna fire everybody. She just stood there with her breasts right in my face. You know, yours doesn't sound that bad." So anyway, so they decide that, okay, what can we do about this? So over drinks, Kurt jokingly suggests that their lives would be happier if their bosses were no longer around. And initially hesitant, they eventually agree to kill their bosses. And in search of a hitman, they end up looking for a wet works guy, and they end up finding Ian Griffith, I think the same guy who was Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four films. And, you know, because Dale was supposed to find, you know, a wet work guy, some guy who was, you know, so he thought wet work was a code word for, for like assassinations, assassins, and stuff like that. Excuse me. And he thought it was a code word. This is a guy who just pisses on people. And I thought it was hilarious. And then, you know, they figure out about this, and the wet work guy is like, oh no, man, we're not into that. It's like, are you kidding me? I've driven all this way, and nobody wants to get pissed on. And, and the Dales, of course, is talking to the wet work guy. It's like, your ad said you do wet work. That is correct. I urinate on other men for money. What else did you think my ad was in the men seeking men section? And Kurt's talking to Dale. You fucking idiot! We are men looking for another man. It's just so absurd. The fact that they think they hire a hitman and it's a guy who pisses on people. Oh my god. And so anyway, and of course they decide, okay, we got to find a real hitman. So they end up meeting up with Dean motherfucker Jones, played by Jamie Foxx, who's an ex-con who agrees to be their murder consultant. And Jones suggested Dale, Kurt, and Nick each kill each other's bosses to hide their motive while making the deaths look like accidents, which is a reference to Strangers on a Train, the Hitchcock film. So the three end up going into Bobby's house, and Kurt steals Bobby's phone, but, you know, the Dale gets coked up on freaking cocaine, Bobby's cocaine. And so then they go to Harkin's house, where Kurt and Nick go inside while Dale waits in the car, all coked up. And Harkin returns home and confronts Dale for littering, but then he has an allergy attack from the peanut butter on the litter. And Dale saves Harkin by stabbing him with an EpiPen. Nick and Kurt think Dale is stabbing Harkin to death and flee, with Kurt accidentally dropping Bobby's phone in Harkin's bedroom. The next night, Kurt watches Julia's home, but she seduces and has sex with him. Mainly because he pretty much just thinks it's an invitation. Yeah, that's pretty much what he was. So, you know, Dale Arbor says, "Oh, you took the penis foods as an invitation to fuck her?" And then the whole thing where, you know, after Dale gets back in the car and they're driving around, and they locked him out of the car, and he's all like, and he punched the driver. And so, you don't fucking punch the driver. Yeah, don't punch the driver, man. I'm coked out of my fucking head. I can punch whoever I want to. So then they end up, you know, what happens? The craziness continues. Is Harkin discovers Bobby's cell phone in his bedroom and uses it to find his address, suspecting his wife Rhonda is having an affair. So he drives over and kills Bobby with Nick as a secret witness. Nick flies off at high speed, setting off a traffic camera. And then his excuse I thought was pretty funny. The detective pulls him. He gets pulled over by a detective. And actually what happens is he gets arrested along with the rest of his crew. You know, Jason Sudekis and Charlie Day. He gets put into an interrogation room, and the detective, he sits down with him. He's like, "Do you want to explain why you were doing 61 in a 25 zone? 1 block from the victim's house, just moments after he got shot dead?" And Nick's like, "I was drag racing. I'm a drag racer. You were drag racing. In a Prius. I don't win a lot." I don't win a lot. Which was pretty funny. And anyway, so then there's a whole scene where now they realize where they might get screwed over because, you know, they just got out from interrogation. But then they realize Bobby Pellet got shot. And this is after Kurt put, you know, stuff up his ass, you know, put like his toothbrush up his ass and so forth. They think that's going to incriminate them. And so Dale's like, "Why would you put his whole bathroom in your ass? I didn't know I had DNA in my butt. You're lying. You know there's DNA in your butt. You're just like shoving shit in your ass, you fucking pervert." We are lawyering up, man. That's it. I don't have any money for a lawyer, okay? I bought a very expensive ring that I can't afford, and then I gave the rest of my motherfucking money to motherfucker Jones. That's who we should talk to. Sure, why not? He's covered us this far, right? $5,000? 5,000, 5,000, 40 with the briefcase. But shut the fuck up about that case. This is one of the really what really makes this movie work is these guys are great together. They have excellent chemistry. Jason Sudekis, Charlie Day, and Jason Bateman. It just makes the experience of watching the film so much fun. And so they meet up with Motherfucker Jones again. And here's a quote from the sequence. Here's Jamie Foxx. First things first, we gotta handle business. Mm-hmm. I need $5,000. No! 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 There's gonna be no more money. No! 2,000? No! Absolutely not. No way, motherfucker. No. Alright, look. Pay for my drinks. Pay for his drinks? Pay for his drinks? Yeah. Pay for his drinks. I'll do that. Not a very good negotiator. And so then they negotiate with him. He tells them what they should do. And they meet, discuss their reservations. And they consult with Jones. They learn that he actually never killed anyone because he was in prison for bootlegging the film Snow Falling on Cedars, which is pretty funny, that twist. And then Jones suggested they get Harkin to confess and secretly tape it. The three accidentally crash Harkin's surprise birthday party, and Nick and Dale get Harkin to confess to the murder before realizing that Kurt, who has an audio recorder, is elsewhere having sex with Rhonda. And the whole scene where Kevin Spacey is just letting it out on them is typical excellent Kevin Spacey acting, just destroying them verbally. And I'm gonna kill you, pretty much. I'm gonna kill all of you, And it's like, you're dead. So you're dead. You're all dead men. And then Harkin threatens to kill all three for attempting to blackmail him. They flee by car, but Harkin gives chase and repeatedly rams their vehicle. Believing they have committed a crime, the car's navigation system operator remotely disables Kurt's car, allowing Harkin to catch and hold them at gunpoint. Harkin shoots himself in the leg, and he boasts about his plan to frame them for murdering Bobby and attempting to kill him and get rid of the witness. The police then arrest Nick, Dale, and Kurt, but the navigation system operator reveals the entire conversation was recorded. So then Harkin is sentenced to 25 years to life in prison, while the friends get their change of charges waived. Nick is then promoted to the president of the company under sadistic CEO, played by, I believe it's played by the guy, Bob Newhart. So it's pretty funny to have Bob Newhart play that type of role, a sadistic CEO, because he's never been that type of guy who's ever played that type of role. And Kurt retains his job under a new boss, and Dale blackmails Julia into ending her harassment by convincing her to sexually harass a supposedly unconscious patient while Jones secretly records the act. And he also has this crowd-pleasing scene where he just lets all his frustration out on her because he finally has leverage on Julia. And so he's like, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to take a 2-week-long, very expensive holiday with my fiance. Let's call it a honeymoon. And you're going to pay for it. Then I'm going to return to a nice, rape-free workplace from now on. Because if you so much as look at my sexy little ass, Julia, I will have yours locked the fuck up. You crazy bitch whore. Man, that felt good. That was great. It was a good crowd-pleasing moment to just call her out on her shit. And anyway, so that's pretty much how the movie ends. It ends up working out, and it didn't really seem like there really ever was really a sequel was necessary, but we got a sequel anyway, and it's one of those sequels. Sad to say that we didn't necessarily need or ask for or want. So, it's one of those. But I'll get into that later. But anyway, I really don't know what to say about Horrible Bosses, except I really enjoy the film. It's got a great pacing to it. The editing I thought was really clever with the split screening and just the style of it. Like they would put on words like Psycho, Man-Eater, or Tool, on the screen. And just these three guys, Jason Sudeikis, Jason Bateman, Charlie Day, great casting, and had this really great electric chemistry with each other. And they're really fun to watch. And the whole idea of killing your bosses. Who hasn't had a boss that they wanted to get rid of? I mean, I'm just sharing. I worked in my first job at the movie theater in Oklahoma. I worked at AMC, and my GM was a total asshole. Okay, he was, he he really didn't like to give you breaks. He was, very unsympathetic. I showed up one night and I was sick. I couldn't even talk. I literally had a frog in my throat. I was showing up, and on a Friday night, and some new releases had come out, and the theater was pretty busy. And I only got 2 other ushers with me to clean the theater. And here comes my stupid ass GM, Shane, who comes in and starts saying, you better get you need to speed up a little bit. You need to get a little bit faster here. We need to clean this up. I'm like, and I didn't say anything, but basically said, Shane, I'm doing the best I can. And really, what I should have done is I should have told Shane, look, I got, I'm obviously not 100%. I'm here anyway. I'm helping you out, and I can't barely even talk, and I only have 2 other ushers, and you got a bunch of kids back in the concession stand who are sitting on their thumbs doing nothing. Why don't you get them over here to help me out, and we'll clean up the theater a lot faster? But that's not what happened. So, because I didn't have the balls to do that at that moment in time. But I should have. I should have said something, but I didn't. But he's such a dick. Like when we got snowed in, literally like a blizzard just snowed in the entire theater, because I worked the theater in the mall. I couldn't get out. There's nowhere couldn't get anywhere. Couldn't call a cab. And so he's like hesitating on letting employees like me and a few others stay at the theater overnight because there's nowhere else we can go. Like, call a cab. They shouldn't be here. They should get out of here. It's like, go home or whatever. It's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm fine. Yeah, because you're over in your whatever beautiful fucking cabin somewhere far away from everything. And you know what? And you're not at work. So you don't have to worry about having a place to stay. But eventually he agreed to let us stay in the theater. But it was just how he just reacted right off the bat. Was like, no, they should find another way. And I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna walk home? What? Like, it takes me an hour to get to work. Am I gonna walk home in the middle of a fucking blizzard, Shane? It's a dick, unsympathetic asshole. So I totally see the character's point of views here. Everyone's had that boss that they've had fantasies about getting rid of, and the film does a great job, making that into a film. So anyway, I really don't know what to say about the film except it's rated at 5 stars. I honestly don't have any problems with it, so I'm giving it a 5. I really, really enjoyed the film. Like I said, it's one of my favorite comedies of the past few years, and it's a shame that it has a really poor sequel attached to it. But anyway, I'll get to that soon enough. Anyway, thank you for watching my review of Horrible Bosses, and I will see you guys later. See ya.